You've been spending some serious cash on running ads or generating leads for your business. And you've probably hired freelancers, you probably worked with a ton of marketing agencies, and you probably also hired somebody in house. But your results are still the same. Your sales team is still complaining about all the leads are junk. And you're wondering, like, what am I doing wrong? What are we missing in our business? Because the competition is doing the same exact thing. They're generating the leads, but we are not getting any closes, but they are. How are we doing everything right, but really not getting the results? If these are some of your concerns, this video is exactly for you. But before we get into the main video, if you're watching me for the first time or if you're coming across us for the first time, we are a Dubai-based marketing agency called Affluence Digital, and we primarily work with high-end professional service businesses such as real estate or off-plan real estate, financial services, wealth advisories, or high-end consultancies. And we help them with advertising and performance marketing. And over the years, we have managed over 20 million in advertising budget for our clients, which has resulted in over 2 billion in sales and also has resulted in over 100 million in pure commissions or pure revenue for their business. Most of the businesses that come to us usually have tried a bunch of different things to generate leads, Facebook ads, Google ads, and you name it. But they're all still struggling with, why is my lead quality so bad? They might sometimes experience that the lead quality suddenly just picks up and starts improving, but that's usually about a month, 2 months, but it's not anything consistent. The results still feel random for them. To give you a quick answer for that, your lead generation is really not the problem, because anybody can generate leads. No matter with who you work with, what agency, everybody's going to give you leads. But you have to understand what is the underlying issue and why does this keep happening to you. And once you understand that, this is where your marketing problems and your lead generation problems are really going to get resolved. Let's start all the way from the top and start by understanding like what's actually the real challenge, right? Because if you're thinking that, let me just generate some leads, let me hire this marketer, he's going to generate or she's going to generate the leads for me. If the lead qualities are bad, they are a bad marketer. So let me go to the second one, third one, and fourth one, and they keep doing that. So let me actually tell you something that is going to shock you, because if you're thinking that your lead generation is the problem, it is really not. Because generating leads is actually really simple, really easy. Anybody can do that. In fact, I would encourage you, if you have the time or if you have the willingness, just go out and Google or YouTube or something, just watch a bunch of tutorial, and you yourself will be able to do the lead generation part for you, because it's just become that easy, especially with technology evolving. But what the problem really is you have to understand, when somebody actually signs up as a lead, what's really going on, right? You have to understand that one first. And if you're thinking like, I don't really need to understand this, I just need to run my own business and make it profit, I promise you, if you understand this, this is going to be so much more useful for your business, right? So just be patient, watch the entire video. You're going to get a lot of value from this one. When somebody is scrolling social media, right, they have somewhat of an interest. No matter how much targeting you do, you can only target people, on a very broader sense, because absolute perfect targeting doesn't really exist, right? So when somebody is actually scrolling online and they see your ad, the ad itself just gets them curious. And this problem tends to happen a lot more when you're dealing with affluent audiences and your products or services are catered towards the affluent audiences, right? Such as real estate or financial services, wealth advisories, because these are very high-end products. And the broader your services are, the bigger your challenge is going to be. Now, we tend to see that this problem is slightly better or slightly lower when it comes to financial services products, especially the niche ones like wealth management, or like, investing in a particular product like bonds or something, because generally people are not aware of these products and services and they're not very keen on it. But something like real estate, which is like a person turns 13 or 14 or 15, they already know that investing in real estate is a much better idea, or at least a good idea and a good investment option, right? So everybody tends to know this. So it gets them curious even more. Now, when a person is actually scrolling online, they just see your ad. The ad itself just gets them curious. And I want you to really take this one home, because if you think that somebody has signed up, then they're interested in buying, or at least are very serious in having a proper conversation or discussion, absolutely doing nothing when they're scrolling on social media. They're absolutely bored. And then you give them something, all they do is like, click, let me actually just talk to somebody. And after that, the second thing, a lot of times what we see in clients is that they would contact the lead after like 3 days, 5 days, sometimes 7 days, or sometimes even they wouldn't even call the lead because they've completely forgotten about it. Maybe the CRM is not functioning properly, or things are not set up properly. But without digressing too much, there is actually a really popular study done by Harvard where if you can contact your lead within 5 minutes of the lead being generated, your chances of actually closing a deal with that particular person goes up by 84%, because you're catching them when they're really just curious, and you contact them while they still remember and still curious, and then the salesperson just takes their their interest or curiosity to like interest, and that just the whole thing just moves faster, right? But that is obviously not very practical in a lot of times. However, things are changing, and we are building like crazy AI tools for our clients, which are very, very sophisticated. And like half of the salesperson job can be done by AI nowadays. And we are building these tools, and it's absolutely amazing. If you are interested, feel free to check out, schedule a call. We are more than happy to tell you more about that. But the way to actually solve this problem of lead quality really has to come down to not just targeting everybody, also not just targeting anybody who doesn't really know and doesn't really appreciate your value. Now, I'll give you a good example that even if in your industry, you know somebody who has a very large Instagram following or Facebook following or YouTube following, ask them what are their leads usually like. Even if you as a business owner or whoever, watching this video right now, even if somebody like one of the best in your teams actually contacts that particular lead, that lead itself or the person itself will tell them like, no, I don't really want to speak to you. I want to speak to that person who has actually just become the face of the brand, right? And people are like watching somebody online, and then they see, then they decide to reach out. First, you've already offered them a ton of value. You already showed them why you are better than the competition. Third, they already know, like, and trust you in a way. And that is where, if that person generates leads, even if they run ads and with their face, right, it tends to perform a lot better, and people tend to respond a lot better, and people tend to have a lot better lead quality, because when people are signing up, they're not just scratching their curiosity, so to say, right? They're already seeing your value, and they already know you, and that's when they reach out to you, and they're much more aware of what you do and how you help people, and then they're wanting to have a much more serious conversation because they already trust you. The trust is established, right? Until those things are established, most people are just not going to take your sales guys very seriously because they don't know your company yet. Even if they call, even if they text, even if they were not so busy, they would just hang up, and a lot of times, and you will constantly keep having these problems of where the lead is being contacted, but the lead says like, I don't even remember signing up. It probably wasn't me, probably was somebody else. And if the lead is actually telling you that they've already forgotten, they've generally forgotten. They really don't remember signing up because, I mean, let's be honest, like, especially if you're targeting somebody affluent, like who tends to have like a decent income, who's probably a better client, more suitable client for your business or your services, they tend to be like busy people. And it's hard enough to remember what we had for breakfast like 2 days ago, let alone that I was curious for like 2 seconds and I signed up for an ad. So when people are telling you that they forgot about it or they don't remember signing up, they generally have forgotten about it. Now, consider this. If they had seen your brand's, maybe your logo, maybe your company, maybe your website 15 different times before actually signing up, would they still be saying the same thing? Probably not, because when they saw your ad, they weren't just curious, but they were also curious, but also interested in working and getting to know, or at least having your help, whether it be real estate investment, wealth management, or advisory services, or consultancy, or whatever have you. They were actually already had that trust and credibility was established, and they were interested in talking to you specifically, your company specifically. So where even when like a lead is contacted after 3 days and says that, okay, I'm calling or I'm reaching out to you from XYZ company, tend to remember that. And the whole simple lead generation maybe used to work probably 3-5 years ago. Why it used to work so well is because first, there wasn't a lot of competition. Not a lot of competition was actually familiar with digital marketing and running ads online, so they were not really doing it. So you barely had any competition. And second, which is people have gotten burnt a lot recently. People have had enough of those bad experiences in the last 3, 4, 5 years alone that a lot more people are way more skeptical than ever before. Also, with the whole after the whole pandemic situation, post-pandemic, the whole digital movement has really picked up. And almost everybody is constantly getting bombarded by a lot of content. So people are a lot more distracted as well. So these are the things that you're dealing with as a business, and you really have to find out a solution on how do you overcome that. And that's why when we are working with our clients, we used to offer a lot of lead generation services earlier. And that used to be good enough in terms of like they didn't need any fancy marketing strategies and techniques. But things are changing, and they're changing very rapidly. Nowadays, when we are running ads or running any marketing strategies for a business, we tell them that these are the challenges. So what we actually do is we create the same form of effect that they would actually have if somebody were to be following you. Let's say like you have a YouTube channel and somebody has been following you for like 2 years. They already know you, like you, trust you. And we are able to create those sort of effects from ads alone. So when we are generating leads for our clients, before even that lead generation happens, we have already sold on the value of why your company is the best company up front. So when somebody makes an inquiry, they already know you, like you, trust you, and you're basically getting the same sort of result after that, right? And when somebody registers their interest in all that stuff, they're more likely to entertain, or they're more likely to speak to your agents because they already feel that comfort built. They already feel that trust. You already seem like an established or well-reputed business for them, right? So that is one of the first ones. When it comes to the second one, the speed to lead issue. Now, of course, like, sales agents or sales members are all humans, right? We all are humans. But now AI technologies are there where the lead can be contacted, the objections can be handled, the meetings could be set up, everything could be done by AI, and it sounds like very natural, human-like. So people don't really mind that. People actually appreciate the speed of somebody actually reaching out to them and answering all their questions. So AI has that covered for you. And even then, since I mentioned earlier, when people are registering for, your ad or something, then they're just curious. So you have to gradually get them from curious to interested to actually really serious, where they themselves want to have a conversation with your sales team, right? So you just have to take the lead for what it is, and you have to keep building that relationship in the back end without also salespeople just constantly texting them on WhatsApp all the time, because it also makes you look small time or desperate. So we have to do it in a much more classier way by offering that education, offering that value on the back end as well. So we constantly keep building value up front. Once they register, we're making sure that all the things are set up correctly. So they feel that they're being serviced in the highest of standards. And even once they've had a decent conversation with your sales team, they're constantly getting that valuable insights, and the relationship with you and them, or between your company and them, is constantly getting more and more stronger. So when they finally feel ready, like it's like it could be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, sometimes even a year. Because when we are working with our clients, they tend to come from real estate, financial services, and much more higher ticket sort of industries. And the sales cycle is very common to be 3, 6, maybe sometimes even year long, right? So we are constantly building that relationship with your lead. So once they feel ready themselves, they want to come and speak to your team. And that is also when you don't have to deal with all sorts of objections, right? They already like you, they already trust you. And that is the key difference between what was working way before and why is actually it's going to constantly keep performing worse and worse and worse unless you do something about it. And these are the things that we are finding out to be working tremendously well for our clients. You really have to understand that market is completely changed. Market has changed because the competition is significantly higher than before. People have had way too many bad experiences to, trust an ad just itself. Third is people are way more distracted and way more busier than ever before. So that is what I wanted to share in this video real quickly, that markets have changed. Audience has changed. People have become more smarter, more skeptical, more busier, more distracted, and you really have to do something about it in your marketing strategy. Otherwise, if you keep relying on the same old playbook of running the simple ads and expecting sales to come out of it, you're always going to keep dealing with frustrated sales team members. But that is about it for this video. Hopefully you found some level of clarity and insights what's really going on. If you have any further questions, just leave them in the comments below. I will definitely get back to you on that. And if you are interested, you will reach out. There's a link in the description below. But again, hopefully you gain some clarity and insights about the current recent market and how can marketing really help you break through this environment and not just survive, but actually thrive moving forward, because the things that I've mentioned in this video are much more harder to implement. And when things are harder to implement, most of your competition is just not going to be able to do it or won't be willing to do it. And if you get that first mover's advantage, if I can call it that, that is really going to set you up for success much before all the competition actually catches up. So, but that's about it for this one. Hit the like button, share it with somebody you think might actually find it useful. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, guys. Cheers.